Morning, everyone. It's not often you get to hire your own boss. I got to know Todd during the hiring process, but it's hard to know. It's like, is he going to be an asshole? And I'm very happy to say he's not an asshole. He's a network geek that took a path through life that also taught him how to build and expand great companies and take technology and put those into the hand of users, which is exactly what Fastly needs to do and intends to do. And so the last 68 days have been great. And I'm very excited to have him here. And I think you all will over time, or see the increased innovation pace and the vision of what we want to do be accelerated with his help. It's really good to see you all in person here, and to the people that are watching remotely. Next year you'll be able to make it. It's been tough over the last 2.5 years to connect with you all and to understand what's going on in your businesses and what you need from the platform. We've tried, but this makes it easier, and I hope to have the chance to connect with a lot of you today, but also over the next year. So we started Fastly 11 years ago, which feels like a very long time, but also feels like yesterday. We had our first altitude about 6 years ago, and when we started Fastly, we ended up with, I think, what today could be called a software-defined CDN. And you think about what does software-defined mean? Software-defined networking, software-defined storage. What it actually means is we're really tired of the shitty APIs these hardware vendors gave us. So we want to be able to define things using software, because we can innovate, and apparently they can't. And that is what led to this software-defined world. And for us, the software-defined CDN was a way to give you the control you needed to do your innovation. That then expanded to the software-defined edge. Compute was always part of our end goal. But before we got to compute, we had to build a network. To build a network, we had to be the greatest CDN, because that's what customers at the time knew. And I'm so happy that that vision, that goal, is now out there, and that there's significant production traffic on the compute platform. In 2020, we acquired a company, Signal Science. And security has always been important to us, and we obviously sit in a very critical path for all of your applications. And it is the natural place to provide security. And Signal Science, with their WAF solution and their bot solutions and so on, it's a very, very amazing technology that fits our world philosophy, or our worldview and our philosophy great. The stat on how many people use it in blocking mode from day one is pretty amazing. What point is there to have a WAF if it's not in blocking mode? Because at that point, you just have a thing in front of your website that makes it slower for no reason, kind of like shitty load balancers. When we ask you to run your code at the edge, though, we also know, and this is a large part of why we wanted to work so closely with Signal Science, is we need a best-in-class security product because your code is at the edge. And so even if you've been and bought another vendor and put it behind the edge, you're now exposed because your code is running at the edge. And that now leads us to the platform we have today. I said earlier, the goal was, compute was always part of the goal. And I think a key viewpoint here is we give you, and this is also very much a goal, the ability to innovate at the right layer in the stack. When you don't innovate at the right layer in the stack, you build up technical debt, you build up complexity. And historically, unless you worked for Google or Netflix or a few others, the edge was not a place you could innovate. It was a locked down environment where you could configure some things, but innovation was not something you could do. With Fastly, our goal here is that this is a place you can innovate. This is a place where the playing field is leveled with regards to the people who have their own edge networks. And our edge network, our edge cloud, should feel like it's yours. And you should have the control you need. You shouldn't have to use that control very often because we should do the right thing for you. But if you ever need that control, it is there. And if you think of a modern application, it requires a lot of things. But when you think of what part of that application should run, my assertion here is a large part of the application should actually run at the edge. And let's define edge. Edge is, in our mind, the closest you can get to the end user or end device while still being fully in your control, in your compliance scope, in your security domain. Right? You can say that the device is the ultimate edge, but you can't actually trust the device. The device can be hacked. The device can be used for nefarious purposes. So our edge is the closest you can get to the user. On that edge, anything that is related to a user and device is really where it should be computed. And if you think of an MVC framework, sure, the model runs in a central cloud. Data analytics on that runs in a central cloud. But all of the view and probably half of the controller should run at the edge. That's where you should do your auth, your authentication, your personalization, your A/B testing. Because if you can assemble replies and filter them, tune them at the edge, that is just always going to be faster for the end user. It's always going to be more reliable because there are POPs all over the world that can do that. It's always going to be inherently more scalable to handle either anticipated or anticipated traffic spikes. And if you can handle an unanticipated traffic spike, you can also handle a DDoS, by the way. It's like a great thing that goes together. You can not have to worry about a whole class of problems if you do that. We now have the network services, security, compute, and observability that all work together as one platform that you can mix and match the different services to really create innovative new applications. If you look at the slide, you see on the compute, there's device detection, page templating, authentication. Those are all things that customers are building on top of the platform. Right? So we're extending the ability to innovate. And that's the same platform that we're building our future products on. Right? Like the Edge WAF is built on top of compute. The CDN is being rebuilt to run on top of compute. So compute has all that power, and that power is something you can all use. I really believe in the one platform. We're one platform. We have the different components. It's all about what happens to your end users' requests, how do they flow through this platform, and the ability to hook into those requests and do the business logic, security, performance that you need. So we do obviously the TLS termination, go through all the different services. There's a mix here of services that we provide, but also paywall and auth that the customer provides, and then through our load balancing all the way to the edge. Also really excited about the object store, secret store, config stores to allow you to do state at edge. That kind of all brings it together. And then we have the observability side, because again, if we're asking you to run code at the edge, we need to provide you the same visibility, observability, at the edge as you have in your central data center. And in fact, we can give you more because we have a very unique view of that. And some of you might say, like, Artur, you've already been doing this, or we are already doing this on top of you. And that is, the blessing and curse of a platform, right? Is we let you do things on top of it. We have heard the feedback, though, and really realized that some of it is just really hard to do on top of us, and some of it you kind of don't want to do. You're just like, can you do it for me? And so part of this, the push into observability and the push into some of these other services around load balancing and so on is taking what we already do, what you already do on us, and making it easier for you to do. But if we're going to ask you to treat us as one platform, we also realize that there's 98 POPs now. There are plenty of places, though, where you will need to run your edge code where we don't have a POP, where it doesn't make sense for us to have a POP. It might be inside your span of control, but not inside our span of control, so we can't put all customers there because, again, the edge is the closest you can get to users where you can trust that you have the full control, full compliance. And so this is super exciting to me. It's been something we've been thinking about for a long time, and we want to kind of preview it today. We're going to talk more about it next year, and that is this concept of Fastly Anywhere. It's the idea that you can take a Fastly POP and instantiate it whatever environment you want. And that POP will participate in the global network for you. So it will expand your global network, not everyone's global network, but your global network. So imagine wherever you needed that edge, wherever you needed something close to your users that is within your span of control. And that's the idea of Fastly Anywhere. It could run on Kubernetes, it could run on a cloud provider, it could run on-prem. And we've heard over the last couple of months as we've started talking to customers about this, a big interest in anything from cruise ships to airlines or airplanes to remote hotels, fulfillment centers in the middle of nowhere that have terrible internet, stores where they want to be able to use the edge applications they have in a really fast manner for local stores. We've heard about it for more efficient origin shielding. You can origin shield inside your AWS. We have a lot of customers who do something we call the cloud sandwich, where you go like GCP, Fastly, GCP, Fastly, GCP, or AWS, Fastly, which is great from an observability point of view, from a control point of view. It is not so great when you have to pay extra egress charges and ELB and NLB or ALB charges, which, by the way, like those things add like hundreds of milliseconds of latency, and it's really bugging me because we fight for every millisecond on your behalf. So instead of Fastly Anywhere, you can run that inside your cloud provider for your east-west traffic. And this is something we learned from Signal Science, because one of the great things about Signal Science when they came to us and now NGWAF is that you can deploy it on the cloud, on the edge, or in your data center. And there's a tremendous amount of east-west traffic that the NGWAF helps protect. You can also use it for your dev environments. I've talked to customers who don't want their dev environments to ever be publicly accessible because they're afraid that duplicate content will leak to Google, for example, or some new feature. So we're really excited about this notion of Fastly Anywhere. It will coordinate, it will get your configs. You'll have access to all the logging integrations, to all the observability integrations. You'll have access to all of the Fastly services, compute, network services, security, wherever you need it. So really excited about it, and really looking forward to sharing more about that next year. So with that, again, thank you all for coming. It's been great seeing you from up here, though these lights make it a little hard. And look forward to talking to you during the breaks. Now I want to introduce our new Chief Product Officer. She joined about a year ago. I hope you have all seen it same way I have, which is we've had a significant increase in product velocity. I think we shipped more things in Q1 of this year than we shipped all of last year. We have a very robust roadmap. If you haven't had a chance to see it, hear it, talk to your account team, and we'll happily come and share, talk about it, get feedback. So I love working with her. It's been a really fantastic year. Really excited about our velocity of getting these innovations out to you. And so with that, Lakshmi Sharma, our Chief Product and Strategy Officer. The S always confuses me. Welcome aboard, Lakshmi.